All right, everybody, we are going to get started. So thank you for being here. If you haven't yet, somehow you missed it on your way in, there's two papers we want you to have in the back. Brooke at the table back there, she could help you out. There is one that is student guidelines and trip breakdown, and it's going to say 7th grade or 8th grade on the top, so just grab the one that applies to whatever grade your student is in, and then there's a packing list back there. We're going to go through both of these things in great detail, so hopefully you get those. Yeah, with that being said, my name is Gordy. If we haven't met, maybe you've gotten emails from me, but I'm the junior high pastor here at JH78, and we are super excited for Whitewater. Students, if you're in here, are you guys excited for Whitewater? Oh, come on, guys. Parents aren't going to let you go now, okay? Are you guys excited for Whitewater? We got like 2% better. There we go. We're going to have a lot of fun, but here's what we need to talk through. We need to talk through these trips in a lot of detail because they're kind of big trips, okay? And I just appreciate all of you being here. If both parent and student is here, thank you. If it's just the parent here, make sure you go over all this information with your student because a lot of it has to do with them. And so it's okay if your student can't be here for whatever reason, but you can help us out by going over this with them so that they understand, even if they've already been before, okay? I know some of you in this room, you're in 8th grade, and you're like, I went last year. I'm an expert at Whitewater. This is just a good reminder for you. Still cover it. Still go over it. Even if you think you know it all, it's still helpful for you to remind yourself of what the trip is all about and what we expect of you, okay? Because that's what we do right now. We are going to go through in great detail everything that you as a parent need to know for your kid on the trip. Things that like you can just sleep a little bit better at nighttime. You know a little bit more of what they're doing each day, our protocols on certain stuff. That's what we're going to cover. But for students, we are also going to cover what we expect of you when you are on the trip, okay? Because we're about to spend 8 straight days with you, and we need to cover, hey, this is what we expect of you when you're in the cars. This is what we expect when we're at camp. This is what we expect when you're on the raft. Because not saying this is going to happen, but just in case stuff arises or things come up on the trip, I can reference back to this meeting and I can say, hey, remember when we talked about that? Remember when we covered that? And part of you going on this trip means you are agreeing to listen to these things, follow these things. And it's not to ruin your fun. It's not to give you a bad time. It is to help you have a safe and fun trip, okay? That's why all these things exist. And a lot of this is going to sound pretty straightforward. It might be common knowledge, but I'll be honest with you, and junior hires, don't take offense to this, okay? Junior hires, sometimes you have to just say very common knowledge stuff that a lot of us, we go, oh, of course we're going to do that. Well, junior hires, sometimes you do things that are a little unexpected, and we just need to cover even the obvious stuff with you before we go on a trip like this, okay? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to try to go through this information quickly, but at the very end, I'm going to give time for any of you to raise your hand, ask any questions, and then if it's more of a personal question or a long question that we need to talk through, I'm just going to be up here at the end, and you can just stay and talk to me about whatever you need to talk to me about, okay? I'm assuming most of you in here have registered your student for the trip, but there may be some of you in here that are still, I opened it up to anybody if they wanted to learn about the trip. And so if that's you and you're still kind of on the fence, hey, thanks for being here. Hopefully you learned some stuff about Whitewater here, okay? So with that being said, a little bit about Whitewater. North Coast Church has gone to Whitewater for, I think, over 30 years now, okay? This is a trip that happens every single summer. It is kind of a staple of summertime at North Coast Church. The Vista campus has done it for that long, and now I believe that 4 or 5 of our offsite campuses, those junior high groups, also do Whitewater during the summer. Carlsbad Junior High already went to Whitewater this summer. Fallbrook Junior High leaves on Friday to go to Whitewater. We leave our first trip. Ramona goes between us. Our next trip goes. So North Coast is at Whitewater all summer long. And so that's just a little bit for you to know, like we are very experienced at doing Whitewater. This is a trip that hundreds of junior hires go on every single summer. And so hopefully that helps you sleep a little bit better knowing, okay, there's a lot of experience. A lot of people do it. They kind of know what they're doing with this, okay? Myself, personally, this will be because I go both weeks, this will be my 18th and 19th times going to Whitewater. There's even more experienced people than me on the trips. Travis Seibert, I don't know if any of you know him. He is our family ministries pastor here at the Vista campus. He was also the junior high pastor before me. He has gone 50 plus times to Whitewater. He is going on the 7th grade trip. Greg Mattis, he's in charge of our facilities team here at the Vista campus. Maybe you've seen him around. He's got a great looking mustache, okay? He has gone close to 30 times to Whitewater. There's another super volunteer that drives for both weeks every year. His name is Reason. He has gone 30 plus times now. We have, I think, around 25 parents going between both of these weeks on the trips. And so it's not just myself and a bunch of high energy young adults going. We have a ton of parents on both weeks of the trips, okay? Some of them are in this room at this meeting right now that are going on these trips, okay? And so just know that there is some very experienced, very mature, capable adults going on these trips. The ratio breakdown of adult to student is I think it breaks down for every 2.5 students, there's one adult. So it's a very good ratio, okay? It's not, there's almost as many adults on the trip as there are students. It's a very good ratio. Here on a typical Tuesday night, the ratio is way worse than that, okay? It's like for every 10 students, there's one adult. So on this trip, it's way better. We're really prepared. There's a lot of adults around all the time to make sure that your students are safe, okay? And a little context on who these adults are, just so you know, any adult that goes on this trip has to pass a background check. They get live scanned through the church. Anybody that serves with minors here at the church, even if it's not a camp, they go through the background check. They get live scanned. All that stuff takes place before they are allowed to serve. And so all of the adults that are on this trip have gone through that process and have been cleared to serve as well. Just so you know that. It's not like we just let anybody join these trips, okay? We go through all the steps to make sure we're taking the right people on these trips with us, okay? So that's all that stuff right off the bat. I'm going to jump into this now. A lot of this is just going to be a little bit boring, but please pay attention. Students in the room, this first portion is really for you. And so students, pay attention to this stuff. If your student's not here, go over it with them. Here is the guidelines, a little bit of preparing you for what the trip is about and also what we expect of you. Okay, so let's go through this. So the morning of, the day we are leaving for camp, here's what it's going to look like. Okay, we need you to get here nice and early, 7 a.m. That applies for both weeks, okay? If it's the first trip, the 8th grade week, we are leaving on a Wednesday morning. Second trip, we're leaving on Sunday morning. So we need you here at 7 a.m. You are going to be dropping your student off. Up on this side of campus, there is a basketball, volleyball court up there. You're going to see when you drive in that morning. We're going to have check-in tables set up. There's going to be trailers out there. You're going to see all the cars we're taking lined up. So you're going to drive up there. You're going to get out. You're going to go drop your luggage off. There's going to be a trailer for all the guys' luggage. There's going to be a trailer for all the girls' luggage, okay? You're going to find the right trailer for your student. You're going to drop their luggage off. Then you're going to go to their check-in table. There's going to be signs that tell you where to check in. You're going to check your student in. You're going to find out what vehicle they're in right there. And you're going to hang out for a little while with them. It takes a while to get everybody loaded up, figuring out what vans they're going in, make sure they go to the bathroom. Feel free to hang out until we leave, or you can drop off your student and say, see you later, see you in 8 days, and you can leave. That's completely up to you, okay? So you're going to check them in, and then this part is important. If your student has any medications that they need to take on the trip, we will have a separate table with the medic, and there's a medic on both trips. You can go speak to them, talk about any medical concerns your student might have. If they need to take any medication, you can check that in with the medic. On medications, if you trust your student with the medication, we don't require you to check it in with the medic. I encourage it. Okay, the medics will do a great job. They're very qualified. They're both doctors on both trips. They will do a great job making sure your student gets the medication. But it's not required. If your student knows what they're doing and they can handle it, you don't have to check it in, but I encourage it. And especially if it's something more serious, check it in with the medic because they'll keep track of it. They'll make sure your student gets it. And that will be just a little bit more of a responsible adult taking care of that for your student. Okay, so that's check-in. Then once we hit the road, students, here's what we need you to understand about being in the vehicles. We do a lot of driving on this trip, okay? We drive for 2 days to get there. We drive for 2 days to get home. You would be surprised, though, if you're adults sitting in this room, you're like, that sounds horrible. Yeah, sometimes it is, okay, as an adult. But the students absolutely love to drive most of the time. Why? Because we try our best to put them in their cars with their small group, with their friends, and they just have the time of their life on the drive, okay? Oftentimes students get back from the trip and we're like, what was your favorite part? And they go, the drive in the vans. We're like, why did we even whitewater raft? Okay, we could have just driven you there and driven you home. All right, but they love the van ride because we make it fun, and we do our best to put them with their friends. Okay, we try really hard to make sure that they are with the people they want to be with. Every car has a adult driver that's sole purpose is to focus on driving. And then every car has at least one co-pilot. That is another adult that is in the car, typically the small group leader of the students, who their job is to make it fun for the students, to deal with any student stuff so that the driver can solely focus on driving, okay? Some cars have more than one co-pilot in there, but they at least have one. So, students, here's what I need from you in the cars. Number one, this seems obvious, but junior hires, I have to say it to you. Please wear your seatbelt. Okay? The co-pilots are going to be watching. They are going to be looking, all right? Especially in the bigger vans, you might think this is a great chance for me to swap seats with my friend, to not wear my seatbelt. No, wear your seatbelt, okay? It's not there to ruin your fun. It's so that you're safe. Please wear your seatbelt. If we have to keep reminding you, you're going to make us stop. You're going to make us have to figure that situation out. It's going to take us longer to drive places that we need to go. So just please wear your seatbelt. Help your driver and co-pilot by doing whatever they tell you. They are here to make your trip amazing, okay? The adults that are going on this trip are some amazing adults that are there to make your trip so much fun. If they are asking you to do something, it's for your own safety. It's for your own good. We had a separate driver leader meeting where we went over all this in even more detail. And so they are all entering the trip with a game plan of what they need to do in the cars because they're trying to keep you safe. Parents, our number one goal is safety for your kid, and we understand that you are trusting us with your most prized possession, which is your child. And so we take it very seriously of going, how are we getting your student there and back safely? How are we making sure they're safe while they're at camp, so on and so forth. So students, please listen to your driver and your co-pilot. Another one that might seem obvious that's not is go to the bathroom when we make scheduled stops. If you don't have to go, please try. Okay? It's because we stop a lot because we drive together in one giant caravan. It takes a really long time. We're really slow, but it's fun because we're just all lined up one through depending on how many cars we're taking. I think we're taking 15 vehicles 8th grade week, 12 vehicles 7th grade week, and we just all drive together. And if one car stops, we all stop, okay? And so we stop often because with that many people, you got a lot of bathroom breaks, okay? So if you don't use the bathroom when we stop and it's like 15 minutes later and you're like, oh, wait, I got to go to the bathroom, you're going to have a lot of angry people, okay? So just go to the bathroom. Just try, okay? Please, you'll help us out, okay? Always wait for an adult to give the okay before you get out of the van when we stop. This is important. When we stop, I am in the lead vehicle. I give instructions to all the other cars via the radio. I say, hey, we have an hour at this stop. Here's the 3 restaurants you can go to. Here's the time you need to be back at the car. Students, you need to know that info before you jump out of the car, okay? So when you're in the car and we make a stop, wait till your co-pilot turns around and says, hey guys, you have this amount of time. Here, you can go to In-N-Out, Chick-fil-A, and Starbucks, okay? Make sure you wait until you heard those things and your co-pilot says, okay, before you get out of the car, okay? I already talked about this a little bit. Your van assignment will be based off of your small groups because that's where your friends are, okay? We want you to be with your friends. We're not trying to separate you, okay? And so we're doing our best to make sure you were with the people that you want to be with. I will say sometimes a small group is big and they can't all fit in the same car. That might happen. We might have to break up your group, but we're still working really hard to make sure that you're with your best friends, okay? We don't want people changing because that's our way of keeping track of you, okay? The co-pilots are instructed when we get back in the car, they're supposed to do a head count. They're supposed to make sure they have all their students. If they have a different student in their car, we have to pause until we find that student. We're not going to leave if we don't know where a student is, okay? So don't switch around. No changes are allowed. If you have a really important, good reason for why you might need to change, you can talk to me about it. We'll see what we can do. But for the most part, I think you'll be happy with your van. No changes are allowed because that keeps us organized, okay? At the stops, make sure you only go to the restaurants and stores that you are given permission to go to, and make sure you have an adult in your group, okay? This is super important. Your co-pilots, your drivers, part of their responsibility is to go to the places that you go to. You are not allowed to go to places where there is not an adult, okay? Because we stop a lot of places, and we need to make sure you're safe. We need to make sure that we're keeping track of you, okay? Make sure you're going places that we say you're allowed to go to and that you have an adult with you, okay? They're not there to ruin your fun. They're not there to probably won't even hang out with you while they're in that restaurant. They're going to go find a table somewhere else probably and let you have your space and let you have your fun. But we need to keep track of you. If we see you in a group without an adult, we'll stop you. We'll make you join our group. You'll have less fun because you won't be with your friends and your small group leader. So just stay where the adults are, okay? The adults do their best to be like, hey, there's an adult going with this group over to this restaurant. Okay, there's an adult with this group going over here. You can choose. Where do you want to go? As long as there's an adult, we don't care. Just make sure that you are with adults, okay? This is important. Be kind to each other and to your drivers and your leaders, okay? Be kind and respectful. Honestly, I would say this is unfortunately the biggest issue that we struggle with at camps is just kind of some joking and making fun of people at others' expense, okay? We don't want that to happen at camp, okay? People, number one, this is a church, all right? We are called to represent Jesus, okay, to each other. And number two, people have paid a lot of money to be on this trip, okay? The easiest way to ruin somebody else's time is to make jokes at their expense, okay? So students, the leaders are going to be paying attention. Be nice to each other. You can have fun, you can make jokes, but it should not be at other people's expense, okay? Or the drivers or co-pilot's expense. Be nice to them too. Be respectful, okay? Don't destroy the vans, please. They are either rental vehicles or they are people's personal vehicles, so be nice to them. Don't destroy them. Throw away your trash. Boys, I'm specifically talking to you. All right, there is a drastic difference at the end of the trip between the boys' van and the girls' vans. Sometimes. Some girls actually can be quite messy, but usually it's the boys' vans. Just at the end of each day, throw away your trash, okay? You're going to be much happier at the end when you are in a clean van instead of a gross van, okay? Be nice to them. It saves you at the end of the trip, too, when we make you clean your vans. If you've been cleaning it throughout, you have a lot less work at the end, okay? The other part is stay off your phones. This is important on the phone topic. We do not require your student to leave their phone at home because it is such a far away distance. A lot of parents are comfortable if their kid has their phone so they can communicate with them, all right? So you know where they're at. I will say, at camp, students, your phone doesn't work. You don't have service. I have service. There is a place I can go get service so that if there's an emergency or I need to update your parents, I can do that. So parents, don't stress out too much. You will be able, like if something happens, I do my best to check my phone twice a day, usually in the mornings, usually in the evenings, so that I can send out updates to you. I'll get to how I'm going to do that later on. There will be communication happening. You will know. Normally, no news is good news. I'll normally send an update of like, hey, day 3, we had a great time rafting. If that's what I say, that means everybody's doing great, okay? But students, stay off your phones. You can't use them at camp, so put them away. On the car rides, you will have service. You can use them, but your co-pilots are instructed. There is certain parts of the drive where they're going to say, hey, everybody off their phones. We're playing a game right now. We're doing this together right now, okay? Because we want it to be about community, not just being on your phones the whole time. And parents, I'm going to put this in your hands. I encourage parents of like, hey, if you don't want your kid to bring your phone, that's amazing, all right? You get to figure that out with your student. But a lot of students don't bring their phones, and they have an amazing time. And so I will say that is totally fine. If you decide your student's not bringing their phone, I support that. Great job. That is totally an option, okay? When we arrive at the camp, students, when we get there, here's what's going to happen. We're going to pull in. You're going to be so excited. You just drove in a car for 2 days. You're like, I'm headed straight to the river. I'm not even changing. I'm jumping straight in. That's not what we want, okay? When we get there, make sure that you help unload and that you get your stuff and you go get set up, okay? It's always funny to me on the first night when it gets dark and there's still a pile of stuff in the parking lot where we unloaded. And students are like, where's my sleeping bag? It's like, you should have grabbed that right when we got there, okay? So get your stuff first, then go set up. There's a designated sleeping area for the guys and for the girls. We normally set up, it's pretty wide open at the camp, but we set up our camp spot, our meeting spot kind of right in the middle so that the two are pretty separated from each other. There's a designated spot for the guys, for the girls. If it's not your designated spot, stay out of the other area, okay? You don't belong there. That's not your place to be, okay? Stay out of that area. Wait for instructions to be given by myself or another staff member before you get free time, okay? Because There is an amazing river with an amazing beach, but we have rules of there has to be adult supervision down there before you can swim. Okay, and so we will give you time to swim on the first day that we are there, I promise. But wait until we give you the clearance first, okay? That's for your own good and for your own safety, all right? When we leave the campsite, get your stuff together, load it up, don't leave anything behind, make sure you got all your stuff, make sure you have your money on you so it doesn't get buried in the trailer, okay? So that's not fun to try to dig through and find somebody's stuff so that they can have their money for a meal. Make sure you got all your stuff. Make sure it isn't left behind. Help clean up the campsite before getting in the vehicles. Just basic stuff of the morning that we leave, okay? That also goes with when we're at the churches when we leave. Just make sure you got all your stuff, okay? At Paradise Point, that's the name that Adventure Whitewater calls their little campsite that we're on, Paradise Point. Here's kind of the flow of what you can expect each day. Mornings consist of a Devo time, a worship time, solo time. That's what you can expect every morning before we go rafting. In the evenings, we do a little bit of an extended version of that. We play some rec games. We do worship. We do teaching. 7th grade week, our 11th and 12th grade pastor, Anthony Barrazo, he is the camp speaker that weekend. 8th grade week, we have a former youth pastor who is here at North Coast Church. His name is Braden Waite. Both of them are amazing, fun speakers that you'll have a great time listening to them. But they speak every single night that we are at camp. We have small group time at nighttime at camp. So you're going to have that every single day. You must be at every meal. You got to eat, guys. And for some reason, you don't like the food or something's going on, please talk to your small group leader about it. You have to eat. We do a lot of active stuff at Whitewater, so you need your food. If there's something going on, don't just decide not to eat. Tell your leader about it. We'll try to work with you on it, but you got to be at every single meal. Stay hydrated and wear sunscreen. Students, I'm going to tell you this. Most medical things we deal with at Whitewater deal with students that are dehydrated and students that are sunburned, okay? Just get it, like that's almost everything that we deal with. It's because if you guys would drink your water and wear your sunscreen, I promise you're going to have so much more fun because you're going to feel a lot better, okay? Our poor medics that are on these trips, that's primarily what they're dealing with. It's just students that are like, don't feel good because they're dehydrated because they haven't been drinking water, okay? And so just make sure you drink water and you wear your sunscreen, okay? When you're swimming down at the river, no swimming without water shoes on or adult supervision, okay? Wear your rafting water shoes. I'll get into what that means in a little bit. But it's not like a beach where it's like nice and sandy like the ocean here. It's a nice, beautiful beach, but it's a river bottom. So it's like sticks and rocks and all that stuff. So if you go in barefoot, you might step on something, it would hurt your foot. You're going to have a pair of water shoes. Just make sure you wear it, okay? And then also make sure there's adults down there. If there isn't adults down there, don't go in the water. Go get an adult. We do a rotation of lifeguard duty with our adults. And so there should, in the free time that you're allowed to swim, there should always be adults down there, okay? If there isn't, that probably means it's not free time and time for you to swim. And you probably walked past the sign that we put out that says beach closed, okay? So you shouldn't be in the water at that time. All right? Stay in the camp. This isn't really hard to do because it's very obvious what is the camp and what is not. We're not really around anything else. And so I've never really had a problem with students staying in the camp, but please stay in the camp. Be respectful of nature and the camp. Be nice to Adventure Whitewater's campsite and the nature around you. No pranks or jokes at the expense of others. Already talked through that a little bit, but please, as funny as you think you are, don't prank other people. It's not fun, okay? It's not nice to them. Please don't prank or make jokes at the expense of others. It's probably the easiest way that I see students get in trouble at Whitewater. It's because they think they're funny and they're pranking somebody else, and it's just not funny for that person. So save yourself that problem by not doing that at camp, okay? Baptisms. This only applies to the 8th grade week. We only do baptisms on the 8th grade week, okay? Here's what we ask. For you as a parent, have this conversation with your student ahead of time. Okay, talk through baptism with them because we're not going to baptize a student without their parents' permission at Whitewater because, I understand some of you want to be there when your student is baptized, okay? And we offer baptism all the time here at the Vista campus, and there is nothing wrong with a student deciding, hey, I want to get baptized, but I want my family to be there, and so you can easily get it scheduled the next time when you get back from camp that we do baptism here at the Vista campus. So have that conversation with your student. Okay, so they know when they go into the trip if you are okay with them being baptized or not, okay? Even if they don't know if they want to be baptized, just like give them a little bit of a heads up of like, yeah, if you were to make that decision, here's how I feel about it. Have that conversation with them. It'll probably be a cool conversation for you to have with your student. But just so they know, so that when a student goes, hey, I want to get baptized, we can be like, are your parents okay with that or not? And they will know yes or no. And then we know if we can baptize them or not. At camp, we also, on the 8th grade trip, we do a baptism meeting before baptism, so that I cover what theologically it means when we do baptism, so that students aren't just deciding to do it because their friends are doing it. They actually have that meaning and purpose behind it biblically, because we take it seriously. And a baptism is an amazing, amazing thing, but we want students to understand what they're doing when they decide to get baptized. Okay, it's also filmed and photographed. So if they do decide to take it or to get baptized, we will get you that later. Okay, so it's there for you. If you can't be there, but your student does get baptized, you can see the photos and the video of it. Okay, that is baptism. Discipline. Have to talk about this. I've talked a lot about it already. But in the worst case scenario, like I said, I've been 17 times. I've only had to do this one time. But I did have to do it one time, okay? If there is a situation that is extreme enough, we will send your student home, and it is not fun because it is not easy to do. If we are at camp, we will have to drive the 2 hours to the Medford airport, and we will have to get them a ticket, and we will fly them home, and then we will give you the bill. I've only had to do it once, okay, in 17 years, all right? And it was a pretty extreme situation that knowing the students that are going on this trip, I don't think it's going to happen. But I do have to say it in this meeting so that if it was to happen in the worst case scenario, I could be like, hey, we talked about it. We said that could happen. So don't anticipate it happening, but that's just something you got to cover, okay? So if for some reason you're worried that student might be yours, talk about that with them ahead of time, okay? So that they are clear. I don't think that's going to happen, but got to say it, okay? That's what the meeting's for. On the river, for those of you that are a little concerned, because it is whitewater rafting, I get your concern. I know whitewater rafting sounds a little bit intense. I get it. Here's a few things to hopefully make you feel better, okay? Number one, it is not myself. It is not our leaders that are like, get in my raft. I'm going to be guiding you down this river. It is through a company that is trained and professional, okay? They do trips all summer long, okay? They are called Adventure Whitewater. You can look them up online, okay? They have done this for many, many years, okay? Every raft has one of their trained guides in it, all right? They are the ones telling you what to do, what not to do on the river. Not me, not any of the North Coast leaders, okay? They are the ones in charge, okay? So students, always listen to your rafting guides, okay? If your leader tells you something and the Adventure Whitewater guide tells you something, this is your one time where you don't have to listen to your North Coast leader. Listen to your guide, okay? They are the one that knows what to do. They are the expert, okay? And also, students, you can close your ears at this point because this might ruin some of the excitement for you. But adults, parents, when it comes to whitewater rafting, the way they rank rapids is on a scale of 1 to 6, 6 being the most extreme, 1 being very mellow. We only do 1s and 2s. We do 1, 3, okay? That's it. That's all we do. And for the 3, they make you wear helmets, and they take it very seriously, and it's a lot of fun. In this scenario, which is not very common, where a raft dumps people out, it's happened to me. It's happened to many students. It's fun, okay? It makes it more exciting. It never happened to me until last year, okay? All the years I had never happened to me. That's how it's like, it's not very common. But it did happen. And I was like, that was great. That was more fun. All the students that it happened to, they were like, we would go do that again immediately because the rapids that we do are fun, but they're not extreme that it's like you should be super concerned about their safety, okay? They are wearing life jackets the entire time, okay? They don't wear helmets except for that one rapid that I just told you about, the 3 that they do, but they are wearing life jackets the entire time. There is always a guide in the raft with them, so that hopefully makes you feel a little bit more safe about that, okay? Listen for your rafting assignments each day. Sorry, I kind of skipped past that one. Students, we kind of let you choose where you want to go in your direct raft. Often it's with your small group, okay? But there will be, because we're such a big group, we do split off to do 2 different sections of the river on most days. And so it's like, hey, these 7 vehicles are going to this portion of the river. These 7 vehicles are going to this portion of the river, okay? Because we're a lot of people, and they try to keep stretches of the river kind of clear. So there's other companies that use the river too, and we're not trying to just clog up the whole river. And so the way it works is we camp at the same spot all week long, and we just drive to different parts that we are rafting on, okay? And then we come back to camp at the end of the day. All right. Don't jump off any rocks that you have not been told you can jump off from. That kind of applies to anything, okay? It's just wait till a guide says that you can do it before you do it, okay? There will be rocks that you can jump off of, but only the ones that the guide's cleared for you, okay? There will be times where you can jump off your raft, but only when the guides tell you it's time to jump off the raft, okay? They are there to give you an amazing time. They will give you plenty of opportunity to do those things, but wait until they have said it's safe. Go for it before you do it, okay? Have questions or something is wrong. Here's kind of the chain of command to go through, okay? Number one, check with your small group leader first. They're probably going to be the easiest person for you to find because they are literally there to be with you the entire time, okay? So check with your small group leader first if something is wrong. If they can't solve it for you, they'll probably check with your mid-group director next, okay? So 7th grade, that is Cece or Matt. 8th grade, that is Annika or Drew. If it is a medical thing, check with the medic first, okay? Before you even check with anybody else, go to the medic if you can't find the medic. Check with those people. We'll quickly find the medic for you. And if none of those can help you, you can always find me and check with me. But that's kind of all the people that you can, if you got a question or something is wrong, go through all those people, okay? If it's a problem on the river, ask the guides first. They are the professionals. And then students, don't abuse the fact that I have put my number on here. Parents, service is limited. Already talked about that, but I will do my best to communicate to you a couple times a day. In the mornings, I typically just check my phone to be like, is anybody trying to reach out to me? And at the end of the day, I send out an update of like, everybody's good. We had a great time today, okay? But if you ever need to reach me, that's my phone number, okay? So if you need to reach out, feel free to reach out, okay? Students, that's not for you, though, okay? Don't be blowing up my phone when I'm trying to navigate, okay, in a caravan of 15 cars, all right? That's not very fun for me. Camp updates before the trip. If you want the updates that I send out, here's what you should do. You should download the Remind app, okay, and then turn on notifications and then enter in that code there for the 7th grade week or the 8th grade week, and then we will be sending out those updates, and you'll get a notification on your phone if you've turned on notifications that says, hey, here's the update of the day. I do my best to send out one of those per day, and typically it just says, hey, here's what we did. Everybody's safe. We're having a lot of fun, all right? And then you just know, great. No news is good news. Everything's going well. They're having a fun time, okay? Obviously, if something went wrong or even in small stuff, all right, I would reach out to you and let you know, okay, if it involved your student, all right? And I'm also going to say this because a lot of times, and I don't know if there's a way around this, I do call parents on the trip about stuff. If I call you, don't immediately panic and think the worst case scenario. That typically happens. I don't know how to work around that. The people will answer and be like, is everybody okay? Yeah, I'm just calling to ask if you mind if your kid's baptized or not. Or, hey, this little thing happened. Okay, just if I reach out, try not to panic and think like the worst thing has happened, because I do reach out, even about small stuff, because I want you to be in the know of stuff that's going on with your student, okay? And then you can follow us on Instagram. We try our best to post photos and stuff during the trip. That is, we do our best. Often those photos come more so on the days we are driving and have service. We try to post on there during the week when we are rafting, but it may be hit or miss. But you can still follow along. Other things, make sure all your payments are made before the trip. It's not fun afterwards to try to hunt down people to make payments. I think most of you now with our new system, it's like on an auto pay thing, so that really shouldn't be a problem. But just make sure the day of or the day before that you're just like, all right, are we good to go? And then most importantly, join us in prayer, okay? Please, pray for us. Please, 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 okay? If you are not going on the trip, you can be a huge part of the trip by simply praying, okay? Pray for safety, number one. Pray for life change to take place, number two, okay? Pray for the leaders, the camp speakers, the worship team. Pray that God would just use them and move through them. Pray for all of the students that are going, that this would just be an amazing, amazing week for them at camp. Just pray for all that stuff. Lift up the entire trip, every aspect of it in prayer. When you think about your kid, which is probably going to be often when they are on the trip, pray. Just pray, okay? Because it is amazing to just know, like, hey, we have an entire this entire room back home praying for us when we are on this trip, okay? Because all of your drivers, your leaders, myself, we have been praying for months leading up to this. And it's just amazing to know that we are not the only ones praying, that all of you are right there with us praying through every aspect of it, okay? So you can always be praying, all right? On here is just, this looks different depending on the week your student is on. The 8th grade itinerary is the one I have in front of me, but the 7th grade itinerary is on there as well. Really, they're not a whole lot different other than the days that the trip is on. When we drive the first day, we spend the night at a church in Vacaville, California. It's called Valley Church, okay? And then we finish the drive to camp the next day, and then on the way home, we spend the night at North Coast Church El Dorado Hills. So we get to go hang out with our North Coast Church campus that is out there in El Dorado Hills in Sacramento. And then we finish the drive the next day back home here to Vista. And we'll try to update you on what traffic looks like. Unfortunately, the last stretch we have to go through LA, which is the worst. You're so close to being home. It's really the only part of the trip that I dislike, okay, is just because you're ready to be back, and then you sit through the worst traffic you've experienced the entire trip, okay? We do our best to update you, but sometimes we're just at the mercy of the flow of traffic, okay? That's all that stuff. Packing list. Try to go through this relatively quickly, but I want you to be prepared. So, what to pack for your student. Number one, they should have a backpack or something that they can take in the vans with them that has their snacks, that has money in it, that has whatever they might want to entertain them and their friends, games, whatever they want to play, to just give it a great time, okay? I would encourage those not be electronic stuff, but just stuff that like group games, things that they can do together in the van, okay? Have that with them. Don't pack that in the trailer. They need a Bible. They're going to be using that often, okay? A pen. They are sleeping under the stars, okay? So they need stuff to sleep, okay? They need a sleeping bag. They can't bring an air mattress, unfortunately, or a cot. So sorry, but there is these like camping thin pad mattresses that if it rolls up tightly, you can bring that, okay? It's just more of a space thing for us because there's so many people going. We don't want stuff that's going to take up a ton of space. They don't have to pack the smallest bag in the world, the smallest suitcase, but like as you're packing for them, try to be a little bit conscious of it. As like, am I overpacking right now? Okay, we're not really like the airport, like seeing like how big is this suitcase? We're not checking, okay? But don't go crazy with what you're packing. And then the same thing goes, sleeping bag, sleeping pad, just make sure it can be tied up really tight and packed up kind of small. Make sure it's labeled, please, all right? Duct tape with the name on the outside, make sure it's labeled. You'd be surprised how many sleeping bags look alike. And then students are mad at each other because they stole each other's sleeping bag, okay? Just put the name on it, and that helps everybody out, okay? Water bottle. Honestly, I would pack a few water bottles because students are great at losing their water bottles, and we need you to be hydrated. So please pack a few water bottles, and then this is under the optional stuff, but I would honestly say it's not really that optional, okay? That water bottle that you bring, make sure it has like something on it that you can clip a carabiner to, because then you can clip it to your raft so that when people are jumping in and out and crazy stuff's happening, that water bottle's not going to accidentally fly out of the raft, okay? Because they take their water bottles with them when they raft, okay? And so bring a few, have a few backups maybe, that would be helpful. So in case you lose one, you're not stressed out about it, okay? Again, put your name on it, that's helpful. Other thing to highlight is for the meals, okay? There's a great kitchen there. We cook amazing food. I would say the food is pretty good. But what they do is they use the same stuff. And so bring a sturdy plastic knife, fork, spoon, sturdy plastic plate, a plastic cup, okay? Because when you're done eating, you go through the washing line and you wash your stuff. You take it back to your sleeping area and you reuse it again for the next meal, okay? Some parents just send their kids with like a stack of paper plates and plastic knife and fork and stuff where they just throw it away after every meal. That's fine too, okay? Just as long as your student has stuff that they can eat with at every single meal, okay? The boys, they might get home and you might be like, did you ever wash this plate? And they might be like, no, I didn't. You'd be like, I can tell. All right, but, that's just part of junior high camp, okay? Money on the road, they are responsible with covering their meals, okay? And so what that looks like is I would recommend you, that is 2 meals the first day, another 2 meals the second day on the drive, so 4 meals on the drive there. And then on the way back, it is another 4 meals, okay? So it's 8 meals total on the road. There's things you can do, like a lot of parents will be like, hey, I packed you food for the first meal on the way there, or just snacks and stuff. I don't know. Figure it out with your kid, but make sure that they have what they need for those meals. And make sure that they kind of know how much they're supposed to spend at each meal. Some students don't have a problem with this. Others have never seen this much money before, and they will spend it all at one time. Okay? I have had a student walk into Walmart and buy a $60 video game on the way there. And I was like, no, turn around, go back in. You're returning that right now. You don't need a video game right now. There went all of your money, okay? And so have a conversation with them of like, here's what you need to spend at each meal. We're not going to let students go hungry. If your kid runs out of their money, we will be helping them out. We will be making sure that they have food, so don't stress out that your kid's going to go hungry. But it's helpful if they know what they should spend at each stop, okay, so that they don't run out of money. Mosquito repellent. Some people... I think some people will just get eaten by mosquitoes easier than others, because some people do struggle with mosquitoes there. Others don't ever have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with it, but some people do. And so mosquito repellent is always good to have. Sunblock, sunscreen, all that stuff. Clothes for the outdoors, sweatshirt, jacket. It does get somewhat cold at nighttime, so I would encourage your student to have number one, a maybe more heavy-duty sleeping bag that's going to keep them warm, but also like a hoodie and sweatpants that they can sleep in, because the temperature, it's very hot during the day, but it does drop down a little bit at nighttime, and so they're more comfortable if they have warm clothes to wear. It does not rain that often, and hopefully I'm not jinxing myself right now, but it does help to have a waterproof jacket, clothes they can sleep in, swimsuit. This is a big deal. Again, just think through the fact that they are whitewater rafting. They are doing something that is active. Okay, they're going to be getting in and out of the rafts. They're going to be at some points jumping from raft to raft. Okay, they're going to be having a great time. It is an active flowing river, and so the biggest thing is whatever they're wearing needs to be secure to their body. Okay, nobody has a good time, okay, when your swim trunks are floating down the river, okay? Just gonna say that. So make sure that your swimsuit, all that stuff is secured tight. The same thing goes with the shoes that we're gonna get to in a second. Girls, I would say that board shorts are pretty mandatory, because the sides of the rafts are this tough rubber that gets really hot in the sun, and so you're going to be pretty uncomfortable if you don't have board shorts to wear, okay? And so make sure you got all that stuff to be good to go. You don't have to. I encourage 2 towels, one for your shower, one that you use for the river. I will be honest, sometimes students bring their towels and they never even end up using their towels, but that's there. All your toiletry stuff, a flashlight for nighttime. It gets pretty dark at night at camp, because you're camping. And so like when the sun goes down, it's really dark out, okay? We try to bring a few lights with us that we set up around camp, but when they're walking around, for the most part, they are going to need a flashlight to see at certain areas of the camp, okay? And then other stuff that's important to highlight, shoes. So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend a pair of shoes that they travel in, and they only travel in them, because the shoes that they wear at camp are going to get pretty dirty, so it's nice to have a clean pair of shoes that they can wear on the road. And then a different pair of shoes maybe that they want to wear around camp. And then here's the big one. You do need a pair of shoes to wear in the river. Here's the key. They cannot be open-toed shoes. Sandals don't work. I would not do Crocs. Crocs do not secure tightly to your feet. I've had lots of students lose their Crocs on the river. So I don't recommend Crocs at all. Something that, again, can be secured tightly to the feet so that they do not lose their water shoes, and it's not open-toed, okay? So it could just be an old pair of shoes, just an old pair of Vans that they just wear all week in the river, okay? It could be a more water shoe type thing if you want. Make sure that it's kind of a thicker, heavy-duty water shoe that, like, if they step on a rock, it's not going to go through their shoe. Just kind of think through that stuff when you're figuring out what shoes for them to wear. I honestly recommend most students, it's just like an old pair of shoes that they're going to throw away at the end of the week. That honestly works the best. If you want, you can just buy like a cheap pack of socks to just wear socks so you don't get blisters with those shoes, depending on the type of shoe you're wearing. There is so many socks that get thrown away because at the end of the week because the students are like, nope, I don't need those, and we just picking up socks everywhere at the end of camp, and then they all get thrown away. Optional stuff to bring: a water-resistant camera if you want to take photos. You don't have to, but if you want to, make sure it's labeled with your name. A type of shirt that you're gonna wear in the river that might go under your life vest, so that it's not just rubbing on you. You're being more comfortable that way. Sunglasses that you're willing to potentially lose because it's the river and you might jump out with them and they might float away. So not a nice pair of sunglasses, okay? Just buy cheap ones. Extra spending money if you want for snacks or whatnot, okay? Travel group games. If your kid struggles with motion sickness, honestly, we drive on pretty straight roads until the last 2-hour stretch of the trip, okay? And we do a really good job at that stretch to have each car talk to their students like, who struggles with motion sickness in here? And we move those people to the front. If you're fine with your student taking the Dramamine and stuff, we give it to them so that they're good to go. Carabiner clips for your water bottle to the raft, snacks, okay? That's the best part of the van rides. You just get to eat snacks the whole time. Things not to bring. Tents. We sleep under the stars. Sorry, guys, but honestly, it is an amazing experience. I love the fact I am allowed to bring a tent, but I don't because I enjoy sleeping under the stars. Guys, you will have an amazing experience. The stars there are amazing. It is awesome, to just look up at night and to just be in the midst of God's beauty and creation, okay? So, sorry, no tents for you. Electronics, you don't need those. Leave those at home. Drugs, skateboards, any kind of weapon, lighters, water toys. We supply the fun stuff. You don't need that stuff, okay? A bad attitude, leave that at home. And then this is the important one. Anything that you can't or are not willing to replace. Again, stuff gets lost on the river. So if you bring a hat, if you bring sunglasses, bring something cheap. All right, that if you lose it, it's not a big deal. All right, the clothes, the camp is it's camping. And so if you bring something super, super nice, it might get dirty. So don't bring something that you're going to be super sad if you lose it, if you break it, whatever. Just keep that in your brain as you're packing your stuff of hey, would I be devastated or sad if this was broken or lost or whatever, okay? So that is all that stuff. Questions, and then if you have more stuff you want to talk to me about, you can just hang out and I'll answer all the questions that you have. Yes, any questions?